All right, mate, let's talk about it. Australia's cost of living has gone absolutely bonkers. If you've picked up a block of cheese at Coles and nearly passed out at the price, you're not alone. Rent, groceries, electricity, and even coffee are skyrocketing. But why? Inflation is out of control, supply chain issues linger from the pandemic, and global events are driving up fuel and food costs. The housing crisis isn't helping, and wages? Yeah, they're not keeping up. So how do we survive without selling a kidney? Budgeting smarter, hunting for discounts, and making small lifestyle changes can help. But let's be real, it's tough. Some people are even moving to cheaper cities or heading back home. Is this the new normal, or will things settle down? Let's break it all down and figure out how to get through this without losing our minds. Housing, the great Australian dream or nightmare? Remember when your parents bought their first home for the price of a second-hand Toyota? Yeah, those days are long gone. The median house price in Sydney is well over $1 million, and even cities like Brisbane and Adelaide, once considered affordable, have seen prices shoot up like a kangaroo on Red Bull. Owning a home feels more like a pipe dream than a milestone for many Aussies. So, why is this happening? High demand and low supply mean more people want homes than what's available, and we're not building enough to keep up. On top of that, Aussies have a deep love affair with property, and investors keep snatching up homes, driving prices even higher. Government incentives like first home buyer grants and tax breaks, which are meant to help, often just push prices up instead. Rising interest rates are making borrowing money more expensive, making it even harder for first-time buyers to break into the market. And let's not even talk about renting. If you've tried to apply for a rental lately, you know the struggle. Queues longer than Centrelink on a Monday morning, ridiculous competition, and landlords charging a fortune for places that haven't been renovated since the 70s. With rental prices surging and wages struggling to keep up, the big question is, where does it end? Will things ever get better? Or are we stuck in a never-ending housing crisis? Groceries. Why does lettuce cost as much as a fancy dinner? Grocery prices have hit insane levels. Remember the lettuce crisis of 2022 when KFC started replacing lettuce with cabbage? That was just the beginning. These days, a casual grocery shop can set you back a small fortune, leaving many Aussies wondering how something as simple as fresh produce has become a luxury. So, why is this happening? A big part of the problem is Australia's unpredictable weather. Floods and droughts have hammered farms, cutting supply and sending prices through the roof. When crops fail or livestock struggles, the cost is passed straight to shoppers. On top of that, transport costs are a major factor. Diesel isn't cheap, and when you're hauling food across a country as massive as Australia, every price hike in fuel adds up. This makes even locally produced food more expensive. Then there's the supermarket giants, Coles and Woolies, who aren't exactly struggling. Price gouging has become a hot topic, with many accusing these big players of charging more simply because they can. While they claim rising costs justify the increases, profits continue to soar, leaving shoppers skeptical. Smaller retailers and farmers' markets can sometimes offer better deals, but for many, they aren't always a practical solution. With food prices climbing and wages failing to keep pace, many Aussies are being forced to rethink how they shop. The big question is, will prices ever drop, or is this just the new reality? Electricity and gas. Why does it cost more to stay warm than fly to Bali? Power bills are through the roof, and in winter, it's a choice between heating the house or selling your left arm. Every year, energy prices seem to climb higher, leaving Aussies wondering why electricity is so expensive in a country with so many natural resources. One major factor is aging infrastructure. Australia still relies heavily on old power stations that are expensive to maintain, and keeping them running adds to the cost of electricity. Instead of investing in cheaper modern solutions sooner, we're now paying the price for years of underinvestment. Another issue is gas exports. Despite Australia being one of the world's largest gas producers, most of it is sent overseas, leaving local consumers with limited supply and premium prices. It's a classic case of plenty to go around, just not for us. Then there's the transition to renewable energy. While moving away from coal and gas is necessary, the process has been anything but smooth. As older power stations shut down and the renewable sector struggles to keep up with demand, energy prices have been fluctuating wildly. The lack of storage solutions for renewables means supply can be unpredictable, making prices even more unstable. With no immediate relief in sight, households are doing whatever they can to cut costs, switching providers, using solar panels, or just layering up during coal season. But the big question remains, will energy prices ever stabilize, or are we stuck paying a fortune just to keep the lights on? Wages. Why aren't we keeping up? Surely, if prices are rising, wages should too, right? If only. While the cost of living has skyrocketed, wages have barely budged. The minimum wage technically increases every year, but not nearly enough to keep up with the price of, well, existing. Rent, groceries, fuel, everything keeps getting more expensive, yet paychecks remain frustratingly stagnant. Employers often blame tight margins, saying they can't afford to raise wages without cutting jobs or increasing prices even further. The government claims they're working on it, promising wage growth in the long run, but for many Aussies, that doesn't help pay next week's bills. In reality, a lot of people are earning less in real terms than they were just a few years ago because inflation keeps eating away at their buying power. Meanwhile, at the top end of town, CEOs and executives continue to pocket millions in bonuses, making the whole situation feel even more unfair. Workers are being told to accept the struggle, tighten their belts, and be patient, while corporate profits and executive salaries hit record highs. For many, the only option is to take on extra work, side hustles, or even leave the country in search of better pay. So, the big question remains, will wages ever catch up? Or are everyday Aussies doomed to keep working harder just to stay in the same place? Childcare and education, the cost of just existing. If you've got kids, you know that childcare can cost more than your rent or mortgage. For many families, the numbers just don't add up. Some parents are forced to quit their jobs because, after paying for daycare, they're barely left with anything. It's a brutal reality. Working full-time just to cover childcare fees doesn't make sense, yet staying home isn't always an option either. And it's not just daycare. The costs keep piling up as kids grow. School fees, uniforms, excursions, sports, and extracurricular activities can drain a family's budget faster than you'd expect. Even public schools, which are supposed to be free, come with endless costs. Technology fees, fundraising events, and school supplies that somehow seem to get more expensive every year. Then there's university. Once seen as a path to a better future, higher education now comes with a hefty price tag, leaving many young Aussies drowning in student debt before they even start their careers. Hex help. Loans help delay the pain, but with indexation, those debts just keep growing. For many families, the cost of raising kids in Australia is becoming overwhelming. With wages failing to keep up, parents are left making tough choices, cutting back on essentials, skipping holidays, or even deciding to have fewer children. So, what's the solution? More government support? Cheaper childcare? Or is this just another harsh reality of modern life in Australia? The price of fun, eating out, travel, and entertainment. Remember when a coffee was $3? Now, in some places, it's pushing $6, and that's if you're lucky. Grabbing a simple takeaway has gone from a casual treat to a full-blown financial decision. Eating out? That feels like a luxury reserved for special occasions, with restaurant prices soaring and even a basic pub meal costing more than ever. Entertainment isn't much better. A trip to the movies, once an affordable night out, now comes with ticket prices that make you wonder if you should just wait for the streaming release. And if you're into live events, concert tickets have become downright outrageous, with fees and resale markups making it nearly impossible to see your favorite artists without breaking the bank. Then there's travel. Domestic flights used to be the cheaper option for a quick getaway, but now, a trip from Sydney to Melbourne can cost as much as a flight to Bali. Accommodation and fuel prices aren't helping either, making even a simple weekend trip feel like an unnecessary splurge. It all adds up to a growing frustration. Aussies work hard, but enjoying life seems to be getting more expensive by the day. With everything from food to fun coming with an eye-watering price tag, it's no wonder many people are cutting back and staying home. The big question is, will prices ever come back down? Or is this just the new cost of living in Australia? The government's role, help or hindrance? Government policies, taxes, and regulations all play a significant role in why things are so expensive in Australia. While many of these policies are intended to help, some well-meaning initiatives can inadvertently create more problems than they solve. For example, property incentives aimed at helping first-time buyers often end up driving up home prices instead. When the government offers grants or tax breaks, it can inflate demand without increasing supply, making homes even less affordable for those who need them most. Similarly, energy policies intended to transition us to renewable sources can lead to price spikes in the short term. As we phase out coal and gas, the infrastructure hasn't fully adapted, resulting in supply shortages and fluctuating prices. Instead of creating a stable and affordable energy market, these changes can leave consumers facing unexpected costs on their power bills. Taxes can also play a role in the rising cost of goods and services. While they are necessary for funding essential services, high tax rates can drive up prices for everyday items, making it harder for families to make ends meet. In the end, while government policies are often created with good intentions, the impact on everyday Australians can be quite the opposite. It raises the question, how can we create effective policies that genuinely help people rather than push prices even higher? Finding a balance is crucial for ensuring that all Australians can afford the basics of life. Let's talk the global economic factors. Events on the international stage, such as geopolitical tensions, trade disputes, and global supply chain disruptions, can significantly impact prices. Because why should we be able to enjoy affordable living, right? Take rising oil prices, for instance. When conflicts or production cuts pop up, it's like someone decided to play a game of, let's see how high we can make gas prices go. Suddenly, filling up your car feels more like paying for a luxury dinner than just getting from point A to point B. As transportation costs soar, the price of goods and services follows suit. That loaf of bread you used to buy without a second thought? It's now asking for a small fortune, as if it were made of gold. When the global economy experiences instability, it's not just an inconvenience. It leads to inflation, leaving consumers scratching their heads and wondering how they ended up paying so much for things that used to be part of a normal grocery run. Imagine this. One day, you're casually grabbing your essentials, and the next, you're holding your shopping cart like it's a shopping basket at a high-stakes poker game, nervously glancing at the total as if it were a winning lottery ticket. The cost of living keeps climbing, and we're all left trying to keep our heads above water while watching prices rise. So, let's just say that the international stage is quite the show, but it's one where the audience is paying an arm and a leg for the ticket. Then there is the silent labor shortages paradox. Various industries in Australia are facing labor shortages, which can drive up wages and, in turn, the prices of goods and services, because who doesn't love paying more for a coffee? When businesses struggle to find qualified workers, they're often left with no choice but to offer higher wages to attract talent. This sounds great for job seekers, but it leads to increased operational costs that businesses are more than happy to pass on to consumers. Think about it. You stroll into your favorite cafe, and suddenly that flat white you used to enjoy for $5 is now priced like a fancy cocktail. You start to wonder if they've slipped in a sprinkle of gold dust instead of cocoa powder. The situation can be particularly acute in sectors like hospitality, agriculture, and construction. These industries are often the first to feel the pinch when there aren't enough workers to meet demand. In hospitality, a shortage of baristas means fewer people making your morning coffee. And if you want a decent meal out, be prepared to shell out more for that perfectly cooked steak because, well, those chefs are in high demand. In agriculture, fewer hands in the field can lead to increased prices at the grocery store, making you question if that organic avocado is really worth its weight in gold. So, while the labor shortages may provide a bump in wages for some, they also lead to higher costs for everyone else. It's a classic case of you can't win for losing, where every dollar counts more than ever. So, what can we do? All right, enough doom and gloom. What can we actually do to survive the madness of rising costs? First, we need to shop smarter. Exploring alternatives like Aldi, farmers markets, and bulk buying can save you heaps on groceries. These options often provide quality products at much lower prices than traditional supermarkets. Next, cutting unnecessary costs can make a significant difference. Take a close look at your subscriptions. Streaming services, gym memberships, and other recurring payments can add up quickly. Consider eating out less frequently and cooking at home, which can be both healthier and more budget-friendly. Also, try to resist impulse buys by sticking to a shopping list and prioritizing what you truly need. Getting creative with housing is another way to tackle costs. House sharing or rent vesting, buying a property to rent out while continuing to live in a more affordable area, can help you manage expenses better. Additionally, moving to regional areas can often provide a more affordable lifestyle while still being within commuting distance of major cities. Don't forget to take advantage of any government assistance available to you. Checking for rebates, subsidies, and grants that might actually work in your favor can provide some relief in tight financial situations. Finally, pushing for change is crucial. Engage in local politics by voting for policies that genuinely address cost of living issues. Advocate for greater accountability from big businesses and support initiatives aimed at making essential goods and services more affordable. By taking these steps, we can better navigate the financial challenges we face and work towards a more sustainable and affordable future. It may require some effort and creativity, but there are ways to thrive even in tough times. Australia is an incredible place to live, filled with stunning landscapes, vibrant culture, and friendly people, but the cost of living is making it harder for everyday folks to get by. It's not all in your head. The prices really are crazy. Whether it's the skyrocketing rent, eye-watering grocery bills, or just trying to enjoy a night out without breaking the bank, many are feeling the pinch. While we can't fix the system overnight, being aware of these challenges, making smart choices, and demanding better from our leaders can help us navigate these rough waters. Until then, it's all about the hustle. Keep budgeting and finding ways to save, whether that means shopping smarter or cutting back on unnecessary expenses. And hey, why not start growing your own veggies? At this rate, backyard farming might be our best bet for fresh produce without the hefty price tag. Just imagine a little patch of land filled with tomatoes, cucumbers, and zucchinis, all while saving a few bucks. Who knows? You might even discover a hidden talent for gardening. So, let's embrace the challenge and turn it into an opportunity, because if we can get through this, we can tackle anything life throws our way. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and remember, you're not alone in navigating the challenges of the cost of living. We're all in this together. Let's stay hopeful for brighter days ahead. Catch you in the next video.